Hello, everybody. I'm just going to do a live question and answer session because I've not been on. I didn't get the chance to do one last week on my own. So, taking the time out today to answer any questions you guys have, um, anything digital related or anything that you want to talk about, do put them in the chat. Also, make sure that you do give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I do appreciate that as well. But um, but yeah, just doing the typical live Q&A session to answer any questions for people who've done any of the courses that I've rolled out. Or in general, if you've just got questions relating to digital, I'm more than happy to try and give you a good, solid, honest answer for the next hour. So let me know where you're from, what your questions are, and anything else that you do want to know. So just let me sort my stuff out. And yeah, we've got Marsudin here. So make sure you do put your comments in the chat. If you don't hear me answering your question, please do try and jump on to YouTube Direct. Sometimes people are posting questions on Facebook, and for whatever reason, they don't always pull through on here. So, yeah. And yes, it is very cold over here. It is absolutely freezing. I think the temperature is actually 0 right now outside. And you know what it's like with house heating on. You're either too hot or too cold. But this hat isn't actually for the cold. It's because my hair transplant hasn't fully kicked in yet, and my head is not ready for the public. But yeah, and first time it's too cold for a vest now, Ian. Far too cold, man. Feeling it, but I can always get the vest back out. It's not a problem. But yeah, I'm good. Hello, everyone. Gore, Gary Patterson, all good. Marsudin. And we'll kick off with Marsudin's first question here. Any thoughts on the new algo update? Now, what I would say with any algo update is people panic all the time when an algo update comes out. They, go crazy. They start making changes, firing their staff, and all sorts of crazy stuff. Now, you've probably seen on the 3rd of December or whenever this algo update actually rolled out, there was quite a lot of movement for quite a lot of people. Now, if you've let it settle over the weekend, you'll have seen things starting to return to some kind of normality. It probably takes a week or so normally when this happens for things to kind of settle down again. And I think, going in and making rash mistakes whilst no one knows the full extent of what that algorithm update's about, then you are making a big mistake. Sometimes it's better to just let things settle, because when Google are doing an algorithm update, things fluctuate all over the place, and people make rash changes on things that may or may not have had an impact on that particular update. So for me, making those rash changes is dangerous. And I think, in a lot of cases they do settle down. But I think from what I've seen, it's certainly a link related update, and they're targeting low quality links with that particular update. A lot of people with crappy links, not enough link velocity, and that type of thing are seeing the biggest impact. So, you have to really make sure that any links that you do get are from websites that have real traffic and real rankings, not some crappy network of websites or whatever. And sadly, although that information is well out there, a lot of people are still doing the crappy stuff. So better links is what's required. But, don't just focus on that. Also do audit. A mistake I see a lot of people making is they always obsess over adding more content all the time. And they never actually go back and better the current content they have. They never merge blog posts together to make one big article. I mean, if you've ever done this, if you've got an article and you go and Google, like, whatever your search term is in the local area, you'll see lots of header tags by your competition. Why not take those header tags, add them into your article and get more content on there, and you'll see massive jumps. Rather than your page ranking for 100 keywords, it can rank for 1,000 and so on. So I think you've also got to future-proof your website. There's no point in waiting for algo updates and then deciding your content or your link strategy was shit. Change it now and try and future-proof your business. Though we all do cut corners, we do work with budgets, and we maybe do things that we shouldn't because the budgets are low, and you're trying to, get your foot up on the ladder to get more revenue in, to then try and, invest properly and stuff. But again, that's the risk you take by employing those strategies. Richard B, what's my thoughts on exact match domains? Sadly, they don't work as well as they used to back in the day, when it was a case of getting an exact match domain, putting content on it, and you were pretty much guaranteed position 1 for that search term. And I used to do a lot of that back in the day in a rank and rent model. And sadly, years ago, Google kind of gave less weight to exact match domains for one reason or another. And they're not as effective as they once were. However, do I believe that still has some weight? I certainly believe so. And, it will help you somewhat to get where you need to be, but it's not anywhere near as effective as it was all those years ago, where it was, it didn't really need any work at all other than a bit of content, which was amazing. And still can't believe that, some of the domains I got. And yeah, it's sad that it doesn't work as well. Ian McDonald, what's your experiments on YouTube with CTR Booster? Packet stream, worker jobs for comments. What have you learned to date? What stopped your videos from getting backlinko type traffic levels? So I'll answer the last part first. The backlinko type traffic levels, he has probably 300,000 or 400,000 subscribers. I've got just below 50. So as soon as he publishes something, it goes out to a much wider audience, and the click-through rate and engagement that he gets because of who he is, the same as Neil Patel, and all of that engagement that comes organically because of such a following, is why they are what they are. That is why you can't get those traffic levels without, trying to climb up to that level, because as soon as they publish something, bang, it's got 20 times more views than any of my videos will ever get. And because of all that engagement and click-through rate and all that stuff, they are going to, just look like the dog's bollocks. And they are, they're very smart marketing guys. So I've got a lot of way to go before I would come close to getting those traffic levels. And that's obviously what I want to do with YouTube, is try and, see how far I can go. But these guys, have been doing that stuff for many, many years. And I think Neil Patel's got over 700,000 subscribers. So it's just obscene and something that, is it achievable to catch that? I'm not sure. I certainly believe I do offer value to the community, and it's not grown quite as quickly as I would have hoped. But I've got some massive growth, so I can't complain. But the reason that I use CTR Booster, worker jobs, comments, and everything else is trying to manipulate that stuff so that I can, grow and have higher rankings for my videos and get more subscribers and everything else. Because YouTube are looking at the video watch time, which you use CTR Booster for, micro workers, which you would use for comments. And obviously, you're still getting clicks and engagement anyway. And for me, that stuff works really well. But, once you segregate it all down, CTR Booster doesn't do it all. That's good for the length of watch time on your videos and stuff. Whereas you need the micro workers with all the actual micro workers, different IP addresses, doing comments and stuff like that. With CTR Booster, I did play with Packet Stream. I always found it kind of buggy and it didn't always work properly. So I've just reverted back to the proxies I've got from Blazing Proxies. That works a hell of a lot better for me. But in terms of ranking YouTube videos, nothing is going to beat real engagement and all of that kind of stuff. And that's where, the kind of Neil Patels and the backlinko guys just really have, really have that edge on anyone. And until I get 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, I'm not going to get the same traction that these guys have got. And that's obviously what you've got to pull all these other things in to kind of mimic that, if you like. So hopefully that answers your question. Hello, good afternoon. Another Facebook user again. Hi, good to see you, whoever you are. When you're on Facebook, you've got to allow them access to your data so that your details come through on here. It should come up as a little pop-up. But hello anyway. Quote is Villa. How to get verified fake GMBs. You can go to a guy called Matthew Versteeg, who's on Facebook. I know he sells them. It's getting harder and harder to get verified fake GMBs. Now, obviously, that's from a wholesaler selling them by the bucket load. But what you can do is go to the likes of Gumtree, Craigslist, and that type of thing, and people will let you use their address for 20 or 30 bucks. And that is one way to getting it. Trying to trigger phone verification and all of that other stuff is going to cost you a lot more money than it would to just let someone for someone to let you use their address. So, trying to do trigger phone verification, probably you can get 3 out of 10 to trigger, but you've got to do citations and a whole bunch of other stuff like 6 weeks prior to you trying to trigger that phone verification. So there's it's just becoming harder and harder. So for me, just paying guys the appropriate fee to do it rather than trying to cut corners is the most cost-effective way to do it. If you can't afford 30 bucks to get a fake GMB, then you're not doing it properly, because each GMB should be making you a shit ton of money. That's the reality of it. And that's one way of doing it. I know, and I'm not saying that I do this, but other guys just take unverified GMBs and do it that way. So you can also just steal GMBs and stuff like that. But I wouldn't condone stealing off another man's table, to be fair. But there you go. Richard B, what is the most enjoyable niches you have ever worked on, your website or a client's? I mean, enjoyable. There's been a lot of weird ones. I've done a person who done tantric massage, which was, you can Google that, and it's quite a bizarre niche. I've worked for escorts. I've sold a lot of pills, casino niches. All of them are relatively enjoyable because of the high level of competition, and you can get your hands dirty with PBNs and stuff like that. And because I enjoy that side of the SEO industry, that is probably the most enjoyable type of niches that I've worked on. There's other guys out there who do porn niche and various other ones, and they're always enjoyable because of the high levels of competition and also the high revenue that can be made from them. So those things considered, I like getting my hands dirty and playing dirty and pulling out the tools and all of the kind of black hat tricks and that kind of goes on in the casino niche and stuff. So I thoroughly enjoy that rather than doing local GMB, which again is fine. You can make a lot of money doing it, but it's less enjoyable, if you like. I like to find out things like CTR booster or automated link building tools or niche edits. I like digging deep and seeing who's got what, and I enjoy all that kind of thing. So yeah, probably casino or something like that. It just allows you to test yourself against other guys who are doing crazy stuff, and it really does demonstrate how a bit about your knowledge as well. So that's the kind of stuff I enjoy. Stephen Shaprio, I've got it now, second time lucky. I've started an affiliate website with an expired domain. I've posted 10 posts till now, and a lot of them have started ranking without doing anything. All of these posts rank in the top 50. What should be my let me see. What should be my next steps that I should do and the backlink strategy I should follow? In terms of the backlink strategy, it's very hard for me to say do this because different strategies work for different niches. Depends on the competition. Look at what the competition are doing in terms of their backlink strategy and try and replicate some of that. Now, obviously, what you've done is added 10 blog posts. I don't think that's anywhere near enough to get real traction. Probably add another 10, 15 or 20 blog posts whilst starting to build your backlinks up. Now, you can go out there and get guest posts and, niche relevant links that are easy to get and stuff like that. Start building up your domain authority. That's a good place to start. But then you're going to have to reverse engineer and see if your guys are using PBNs or it's just generic guest post and niche edits or whatever. And then from there, you'll be able to decide whether it's, what type of backlinks you're going to get. Is it, there's PR based backlinks. There's so many different options you can get to build up your domain authority. Get a PR campaign in the go, which will cost you a few $100, and you'll probably get 30 or 40 links out of that. And get some decent niche relevant powerful guest posts. Again, that will notch your domain authority up a bit as well. So start with the basics and then start to if there's any kind of sketchy tactics, PBNs and that type of thing, they're probably always the icing on top of the cake. But just go out and get what the others are doing just now, just to get things moving a little bit. But keep adding content as well. I think 10 posts is good, and you'll see some positivity from that. But try and do more, because the more posts you put on there, the more keywords you're going to rank for anyway. Especially a lot of those long tail stuff that still brings in traffic, but also helps that engagement and everything else in your website. So continue with that as well. Don't switch off from that and just focus solely on links. Keep adding more content. Best SEO tool, Ahrefs or SEMrush. I prefer SEMrush. I think they're both great tools, do provide a lot of data and value, but my personal preference is SEMrush because I've used them for many years and have done a lot of things with them as well. But genuinely, I believe that the 40 plus tools that SEMrush do have on the back end really are as good as anything else that's out there. So I really do think they're on point and continuing to add value to the community with the different things they add. So SEMrush for me is the one to use, but I do use both. Which is SEO friendly, WordPress or HTML? Listen, you'll always have counter debates about this type of thing. Now, WordPress for someone like me is SEO friendly. I don't want to be sitting hand coding and doing HTML 5 pages and stuff. It just takes longer to add a page and all that kind of stuff. So, I think in terms of scale and ease of working and also deploying VAs and stuff like that, then WordPress all round is really probably a good platform because anyone can add a post to WordPress with a bit of training. So for me, WordPress is the best overall, just based on generic skills. Other people will be able to say, other things load faster and this, that, and the next thing. And they're right, they can, but I don't really obsess that much over speed. WordPress can go relatively fast with the right template and compression and using WP Rocket and things like that. So WordPress is a good solid platform. And Ryan Houghton, good to see you, my man. Long time no see. You've been away hiding for a few weeks. I'm assuming you've been busy. Stephen Stewart, hi Craig, I bought an expired domain but missed a bit of research when buying it. It has been used for adult content in the past. Is it worth going forward with it? You can disavow stuff and clean it up and stuff like that, but if it's been used for adult content and you can't really recover the rankings that were there prior to having adult content, then you could be in a bit of trouble. I think, the topical relevance of that website, if you go to Majestic or something and it's telling you that that's an adult website, I would just be walking away from it right away because historically, sometimes that's quite hard to shake off. So it depends, but it depends. Is it got penalties? Have you put up the previous content? Did Google like it? Did it rank it? These are some of the reasons when you get an expired domain, you've got a process which does involve repurposing something, even on a kind of crappy plain WordPress template, repurposing it and seeing if Google still likes it. And if it doesn't, then toss it in the bin and move on. But adult content's a kind of red flag right away. Stephen Shaprio, What do you think about taking blogging and SEO as your career? What about stability? And what if you lose all your website's traffic in a Google update? What I would say, Stephen, is if you're going to think on what if, you're always going to have like kind of negative back thought in your head. What if, all of my traffic could get lost by a Google update, but the job is to try and avoid that. The job is trying to look at the positive side of things. What if you do blogging and SEO and you become a multi-millionaire as a result? That's also a counter argument. What if you leave your house today and get hit by a bus? All of us can have that potential. So try not think negatively about it. You can take blogging and SEO as a career. Many people have. And if you get good SEO skills, you can make money. It doesn't matter whether it's an SEO related business or you set up a double glazing company. If you've got those skills, they translate into other types of businesses. And everyone's got that potential to lose their traffic overnight, which is probably why you want multiple revenue streams. You probably want to do a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of lead gen, a bit of affiliate, a bit of client work, all of that kind of stuff, and have multiple revenue streams so that if one website did hit the, get a penalty or whatever, or get hit by an update, then you have other revenue streams. But the job is not to get a penalty or be hit by an update. Do the work properly. Google's not out to penalize SEOs as such. If you get good relevant content, good relevant links, and you're doing everything else, driving in traffic through your social media, email marketing, paid ads, and everything else, then you're probably going to have a fairly stable business model, and you wouldn't need to worry about losing all of your stuff. It's the people that lose or get slapped by an update are people who've maybe not got the best content, they've not got the best link profile, they're being slammed for something that they've not done properly. And that is normally down to budget attribution, people cutting corner on costs or whatever. So if you do the job properly, you shouldn't have that to worry about, Stephen. Although, as I say, you've always got to go into life and we'll have a positive mindset, because this what if Google do this, we all have that what if. But if we all thought like that, we wouldn't get out of beds in the morning and do any work. So the way I look at it is, what if I just get up and try and apply myself and fill my boots with as much money as I possibly can, whilst this shit still works? That is the what if I've got when I wake up. So that's the way I look at it. And hopefully that answers your question. Mr. Gary Patterson, good to see you, mate. Can you go into details about the course you're bringing out in January, please? So I'm going to be releasing something either later today or tomorrow. And I'm going to be releasing a big course that covers everything. It's going to have generic basic SEO for people that are looking to learn the basics. It's going to have affiliate marketing. It's going to have a whole bunch of black hat stuff. It's going to have a whole lot of paid stuff. It's going to have a whole lot of YouTube stuff. It's going to have a whole lot of various other bits and bobs that I feel is really important to know. Why am I doing that? Might be the question, because I'm giving it all away for free. I want to give it away for free, mainly because I want my brand to grow. I want to get YouTube growth. I want to show people that the knowledge that I've gained over the 18 years can help others, and I'm basically going to dig deep into everything. So it's not going to be a kind of bland course. I'm going to try and make it the best course out there for generic SEO. And it's just something I've always wanted to do. You read about and you hear people saying, "Oh, that course is great, that course is great, that one's great," and the people have got all different prices and everything else. I'm going to give all of it away for free, mainly for brand YouTube growth, and also after nearly 20 years in this game, why the hell not? I think that a lot of people are charging for courses, and and that's fine. It's a great way to make money. But I think a lot of people are charging for courses and they're not actually qualified to be delivering those courses. So, I see real shit ass SEOs releasing courses and stuff that they can't even do themselves. And for me, that is somewhat annoying. When you just see someone like, oh, I fancy jumping in the course bandwagon. Now, I'm not saying I'm the best SEO in the world or whatever, but I've made a lot of money doing SEO. I've tried a lot of stuff. I've fucked up a lot of things, and I think there'll be massive value there for people. I've run an agency. I've been a freelancer with no money in the house, and I didn't have processes when I ran an agency. I didn't, I was a control freak. I wanted everything to go through me. I basically built myself into the business and not working on the business. So there's a whole bunch of even business related stuff that I'll be releasing that is going to stand people in good stead and give them processes and basically hopefully shorten the journey for a lot of people, because it took me all of this time to learn what I've done, and could have done it in half the time knowing what I know now. Of course I could have even less than half the time. So I think I make reasonable money. I don't need to charge people for courses. I just want to show people that there's a genuine person there that can try and help, and if that helps grow my YouTube channel and everything else, and it also helps other people grow with me, then I'll be a happy man. So that's why, again, I'm giving it away for free. I obviously want to build my brand, build my YouTube, and offer value to the community. I don't want to be seen as that dick that charges for every course that's out there. So yes, coming out the 5th of January, I've already started recording, and yeah, just I'm not sure all of it will be ready for the 5th of January, but the vast majority of it. But over the course of December and January, it's a quiet period of time for me where I've got no speeches, no talks, no nothing. So I can really get my head down and do something that really puts my name in the map, in terms of against other SEOs. And I think sometimes it's unfortunate, that I've done podcasts and stuff, and I'm hosting them, and sometimes I don't get to demonstrate the full knowledge and experience that I've got. And I think that course will allow me to show people, the kind of in-depth level of knowledge and experience I've actually got as well. And obviously then hopefully people will look at me and say, right, do you know what, that guy actually knows what he's doing, and that's it. So hopefully that's enough details for you, Gary, and hopefully you do sign up and enjoy it. The sign up page will be coming out later today. PR campaign with some quality content. You are right, Mr. Houghton. Nothing beats a bit of quality. Fox, what do you think about getting guest post links for free and three-way exchanges? As long as it's a three-way exchange and not a reciprocal, then I think that's fine. I think a lot of people do three-way link exchanges, or whatever way you want to call it, and taking advantage of someone who's got other assets, other client websites, or whatever it may be, whilst you're all getting the benefits. That I see absolutely nothing at all wrong with it. Take full advantage, because there's not that many people doing it. I know a lot of people talk about it, but there's not that many people actually handing out, links like that. And it is a win-win situation there. And everyone's a winner in that, that whole process, including the clients that are potentially getting links placed in their websites. They're getting a link from another resource or whatever. So it's win-win. And I really do think that is a good link building strategy from Guy Fawkes. Richard B, what are your thoughts on starting an affiliate that is very seasonal but has high search volume? Is it worth it? The niches in sports jerseys, baseball jerseys. Yeah, why not? Why would that be seasonal though? Out of curiosity. Now, I know sports teams bring out jerseys, pre-season in the summer or whatever. But surely throughout the year, you're still going to get a decent amount of traffic, because people are buying like their friends or family baseball jerseys or basketball jerseys or whatever it might be. And I'm not sure it would be that seasonal, but if it's got high search volume, why the hell not? I have stated in the past that I would try and avoid seasonal niches. And the reason I said that was I had the golf website, and for 8 months of the year, it had really good revenue. And for that other 4 months of the year, it dipped by more than half because people are clearly not buying golf clubs and golf equipment in the winter months, certainly not where I'm from. So that is something that I would always advise to consider. You don't have to ignore it. It can still be a really good 8 months of the year. But it's really up to you. But certainly, sports jerseys is something I think would sell all year round. So go for it, man. It's a good niche. I'm a big sports fan, and I would actually love to do sports jerseys. Actually, I'm just not sure of the profit in that, but it's not something I've considered. But I like football, soccer, or whatever. Depending on where you're based, and I'd love to have done that because I've got a thing I really like football. So, and something I would do because I would thoroughly enjoy it, and I think there will still be plenty of money to be made, regardless of whether you would consider that seasonal or not. I think there's enough sales to still do reasonably well in the kind of lesser months. And no problem, Sharif, always happy to help. Ryan Houghton, been writing a lot of content, doing several posts per day while sorting sites out after lockdown. That good, man. It's always good to know that you get your head down and doing a bit of work. Sometimes it's good to just lock yourself away and do a bit. I'm also just taking my omega fish oil here, trying to become healthier rather than sitting on my fat ass all day, every day. Was at the gym this morning and trying to take my capsules. Stephen Shaprio, I've seen a lot of people making backlinks from the image credit thing and ranking their websites like crazy. How big of a trouble do you think they can get if they get caught by the original creator? You just get asked to take it down. If the original creator actually knows what's went on there, the thing you're going to have here is, remember, 90% of the world is not computer or technical savvy whatsoever. So the chances of that, being caught, are, of course, people do get caught. However, a lot of it slips under the net and you can get a lot of traction from it. And I think the main thing here is ranking your website like crazy for as long as you can. Take advantage of that loophole while it's there, because maybe in 5 years' time, that trick is no longer going to be valid because everyone's onto it and everyone's aware of it. So, yeah, so just take advantage for now. If you do get caught, they'll probably say, what the fuck? And just, you can blame it on someone else. Just say, oh, my VA thought it was mine or whatever. There's always going to be a way out of it. So there you go. Your affiliate marketing course is fire. Thank you very much, Sam. Hopefully, it was just a short one for Black Friday. Going to go a lot more in depth in the bigger course I'm giving away in January, but glad you found use of it. Fred Hutterson, good to see you. Guys, make sure you do give me a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. Sam P, do you think it's still worth it to make affiliate sites mainly focusing around review keywords? Because the updates seem to push down reviews a lot, and vendors with UGC reviews are outranking them. I think, reviews, I actually had this question in the past few days. I can't remember who from or where it was, but I think you've got to mix it up. So a lot of people do such and such review, the best such and such. And I think you've got to mix up the content because potentially Google will, flush down review websites. If they don't want your affiliate marketing websites ranking well, they potentially have the ability to kind of, push down, certain websites or whatever based on that. So I think that's why it's always important to diversify the kind of keywords you're going after. I'm not suggesting that I've seen review websites dipping. That's something I've not actually checked. But that there is potential for that to happen, and we all know that around about Christmas time, or in the lead up to Christmas, you see Amazon, eBay, and a lot of other websites seem to get this little spark or boost probably because they're good buddies with Google or whatever, and you see a lot of other stuff dipping down, so they don't really want the affiliates filling their boots. And the reality is, with affiliate, if you're making too much money from affiliate, you can get chucked off of affiliate deals. No one wants you cleaning up on affiliate. So that's why I think it's really important to diversify stuff, because I know guys that made too much money in hotel affiliates and the hotel affiliate company like booking.com, and it wasn't booking.com, I'm just using them as an example. Basically, we're trying to find ways to get rid of that affiliate. So, there are kind of negative aspects of affiliate marketing if you're doing it really well. There's always, Amazon as well, just slashing commissions willy-nilly and stuff like that. So that is a kind of downside to affiliates. And I think that's why, personally, I've always tried to steer clear of the kind of bigger affiliate deals and always went for SEO and tool providers and stuff, because you can negotiate a fee and hopefully that sticks if you offer value. But if you've got an affiliate website, try and mix the keyword range up, not to just go after reviews. Try and make some generic stuff there as well. Kinch Lunch, any trick to rank a post without backlinks? You can rank a post with good on page, to a certain degree, but anything that's relatively competitive, you're going to need backlinks. There's no two ways about it. You can go after long tail keywords, you can go after stuff that just doesn't have a whole lot of competition and rank them with some good on page. A chap earlier said that he'd launched 10 blog posts and he's starting to see traction happening with just content alone. So of course that can happen, and you can do it without backlinks. But why not just go after the kind of money keywords and just do the job properly without trying to not do it without backlinks? Two main things that have worked really well, no matter who you are and what industry you're in, is content and links. And there's no getting away from that. To this day, both still work. You've got to have the balance right. And I see a lot of guys saying, "Oh, but I can rank this without backlinks." Well, show me something you've ranked for real in a real competitive market without backlinks. That's the bottom line. Nothing is going to rank on content alone with no backlinks. Impossible for anything competitive. Ryan Houghton, everything depends on what you enjoy when it comes to SEO. I really enjoy writing content, but some enjoy linking. It just depends. And you are right, I absolutely detest writing. I love all the link building and all of that kind of stuff. And you've got to stick to what you're good at. And obviously, for people like you, Ryan, you can make a lot of money writing, but it's always better if you're enjoying it as well. I detest it. The thought of writing blog post after blog post after blog post just kills me. So it gives me the fear, actually. So there you go. Facebook user, will your course be in English? Smiley face. Semi-English, if we can call it that. But yeah, it's up to you guys to try and understand what I'm saying, because it will be all video focused on the course. Stephen Shaprio, when you're building links like guest posts and niche edits for your blog, new site on an old expired domain, how do you know when to stop? I mean, you would never really stop if you were making money. I think, link building budget is something you would want to continue to do. I have a blog, and I've been blogging under the brand CraigCampbellSEO.com for a number of years. Does link building stop? It doesn't. There's always new content, new links, new PR, new this, new that, new social media links. Everything, is just continuous growing and growing and growing. And, at the end of the day, if you look at Neil Patel's or Brian Dean's, guys who've been blogging for, 10 plus years, these guys are so far ahead of most other people in the market that you can't really ever stop. No, it depends on your niche. Now, if you're doing it, on a website and you're pretty much dominating on page one for everything, you've done a grand job, but you've also got to maintain that. You've got to drop links on there to keep that, because what if your competition come up and start building more links than you and doing better on page than you? Then you're in position two, position three. So do you ever stop? No, you might not have to spend as much as you did initially, but there's still maintenance mode and trying to keep that gap between you and the competition as big as you possibly can, because I think anyone will tell you if you dominate in position one and you even slip to position two, can have a massive impact in your rankings, your traffic, and your revenue. So I think you have to always be in maintenance mode. And I think whether you're turning over 100 grand a month or £1 million a month or £1 million a year, you probably want to continue to still build links on an ongoing basis. It's just part of your marketing budget, and you know what works. So you'll have your paid ads, you'll have your SEO, you'll have whatever else, social media and whatever. So never stop. There's always room for improvement. No problem, Richard. OSI, building and ranking slowly R&R sites to fund bigger affiliate project in 2021. Good way of doing it. Good, use money, do things to make money, to invest in bigger and better things. My man, Peter van de Graaf. The good thing about SEO for seasonal affiliate stuff is that well-timed stuff gets a bonus compared to old junk. With regular SEO, you first have to beat the internet dinosaurs. And also, Peter's got a very good point. The timing, of anything, it doesn't matter whether it's seasonal stuff or some other stuff that you're doing. The timing is super important to make that explode, boom, at the peak time. And that's something obviously Mr. Van de Graaf has probably specialized in for a long time. Timing of things like this, or timing of PR campaigns, and the timing of everything all blown off at the same time, basically. So timing is key as well. OSI, I had a client that used a stock photo for a few years. Stock photo site found out and directly contacted them with lawyers, so they had to pay a few thousand. That can happen. I'm not sure you have to pay the few thousand. I'm not a lawyer, but I do believe that the law states that they can say get that taken down, and you have the option to take it down. Otherwise, you will pay that money. Now, I'll tell you a funny story, actually. So the cartoon logo that's in my website, I believed that I paid my graphic designer guy to make that, and that little graphic was me. And he came back to me and it looked good, and I'm like, yeah, that works well, and stuff like that. So it went on for 2 years. I used that across branding for everything, and t-shirts, fucking, everywhere I went, that little face was there. And one day a guy came to me and he said, hey man, you're using my guy on your website. And I'm like, nah, you got it wrong, mate. I paid this guy to do it. And he's like, I'm telling you just now, dude, look at this. This is the one I made, like, in 2010 or whatever. This is clearly a rip-off. And, I had to say, geez, it is a rip-off. This guy actually made it, and the graphic designer I used had actually stolen it from and flipped it around and changed a few colours here and there, and job done. So the guy's like, just pay me a nominal fee and I'm happy for you to use it. I just don't want someone stealing my work and using it as a brand, because that's not fair. So I think you get compromises all the time, but people saying pay a few £1,000s because you've been using an image, that isn't how that works. You've got the opportunity to take it down or pay if you want to continue to use it. But there's a lot of scams around that as well. I've had people, ex-clients in the past who've been told that there's an image in their website that's not theirs, and they're going to get their ass sued, and that is just a way to extort money out of people. So check your country's legal requirements on that. I don't believe they can just send you a bill for a few £1,000s, because it's quite easy to say it was your graphic designer anyway. If your image credit queue, you can also make images upload to Unsplash, Pixabay. Then when people you ask them for a link, that's like a white hat version. So there you go. And no problem at all, Stephen. Always happy to help. Guys, keep your questions coming. I've got 14 minutes left. And if you've got any other questions, do keep them asking. Do keep asking them. OSI, what if you substitute review with direct comparison versus type of content? You can, again, mix that up. You don't always have to have the word review there, just comparison or just such and such versus this or whatever you're doing. Just, I think, mixing it all up. I think a lot of affiliates just have such and such review, and it just becomes like, it just looks spammy and shitty, really. And if Google don't like the review type blog posts, then potentially, half of, or 90% of your content's going to go down if you're using that 90% of the time. So mix it up is all I can really say. Sam P, I was thinking of starting a trainer's affiliate website because sometimes you can get really specific names with search volume which nobody has made posts on. Potentially a good idea or no? Sam, to be honest with you, everything's a good idea. You've got to try it. Now, if there's decent search volume out there and low competition, that's an opportunity in itself. You've already answered that question, really. If there's something there that is really niche specific, that has search volume that no one's made a post on, that is what you should be doing on a daily basis as an SEO, is finding those gaps and going, fuck this, I'm in there for that. You could sell plant pots, you could sell dildos, you can sell whatever you want. People buy trainers all day, every day. I buy trainers online. Everyone buys trainers online. And, if there's search volume for something and no one's done it, that is something you should be jumping all over without even giving it a second thought. So, not potentially a good idea. It is a good idea. You've said it's a good idea with exactly what you've said. So, be all over it, man. Get all over it. It depends on the niche. So that's you guys. It's almost impossible to find sites for guest posts that aren't link farms with good metrics. Basically, guest post equals paid post. You are right, OSI. There's a whole bunch of websites out there that just sell guest posts all day, every day. But you also have the ability to create your own network of websites, PBNs and everything else. You don't just focus on guest posts. You've also got niche edits where people give you links on other websites. But I think one important part of the whole process is networking. Find guys who've got websites that they don't sell links on, and there's tons of them out there. Tons of, get involved with guys that work in agencies. Ask them what client websites they've got, schmooze them, bribe them, corrupt them, get in their head, pay them, whatever you have to do to get links on those websites that are decent, relevant websites that have traffic and rankings that not every Tom, Dick and Harry's got links on. That's the important thing, because if you go out and get a guest post that, like Market Watch, for example, every bloody SEO under the sun has got them, has a link in Market Watch. What value is actually being passed to your website from having a crappy guest post on there? They say it's a DR70 and there's a million people get guest posts on there. The just you're getting's probably not even there. It's just disgusting. So, if you're ticking a box, for example, some clients asking you, where are you getting links from or whatever, then you can send them that shit, and keep them, quiet or whatever and show them something tangible. But really, does that garbage move the needle? Absolutely not. Non-saturated websites, which is why I look at expired domains, PBNs and that type of stuff in a big way, because I can utilize a backlink profile all for myself. I'm not sharing it with 10, 20, 30 or 100,000 other people. I'm stealing it all for me, redirecting it onto my website, and that moves the needle. Same with PBNs and whatnot. So trying to get that control is a big part of it. Guest posts in certain instances are good to have as well, but you've got to diversify your link building strategy and try and get other stuff as well. Sam P makes a good point there. When I search for the best X and I open a site that every other article is best this, best that, I just press back and find another source. I think a lot of people are switching on, to be honest, OSI, and doing similar. Some affiliate websites look shit as well. So, yeah, I think you have a very valid point there. Just try and make it do better. Vivek, hey Craig, I hope you're doing good. One question: while analysing competitor and niche, how do you know if you're under analysing it? You think that niche has potential, but in reality, it doesn't. I mean, that comes down to you, your research, and your experience. There are certain industries where I've looked at it and just quickly analysed it and thought, this is a piece of piss. And then when you go for it, you're like, fuck, I massively underestimated this. When you're doing competitor analysis and you're using tools like SEMrush and whatever, these things are only giving you a snippet of data. No one's giving you all the backlinks that everyone's got. You'd need to be able to reverse engineer manually, checking websites out, doing Google search operator commands. There's so many other things that you can look at manually. The tools are not handing it in a plate, and it's all about you understanding what SEO is and how to reverse engineer stuff. And people are doing tiered link building, and the reason they do that is so that you can't really see what they're doing. So, for example, I can put up 5 guest blog posts and that point to the money website, and you're going to look at it thinking, that dick's only, the guy that's in position 1's only get 5 backlinks. The reality is, what's underneath those guest posts in terms of Web 2.0's, niche edits, PBNs, what 301 redirects are going in there. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you need to be able to reverse engineer, and there's a whole lot of stuff that you're hiding from the competition, and it's a deliberate ploy by a lot of people. So you need to understand that game to then be able to identify it. And that, I've in the past jumped into niches thinking this is easy, and it has been an absolute nightmare. So don't just do a quick glaze over it and go, that's the niche I'm going for. I enjoy getting into competitive markets as well, because obviously anything with any element of competition is also going to be something that rewards you in the other end if you master it with a decent return on investment. Sam P, yes, do it today, man. No time like the present. Just get down and try it. Listen, Sam, I've launched many websites, and some of them have been failures, but some of the ones that you just go, fuck, I found a niche and rattle it out, and you make some decent money from it. You're just like, geez, I could have sat and debated with myself and, argued with myself as to whether it was a good idea or not. Sometimes you just got to take the bull by the horns and try it out and see how far you can take it. And I'm sure either way you make money. How much money you make is entirely up to you, but I think you've definitely got potential there for a little gap in the market. Good to see you, Josh McAdams. OSI, I've been looking into expired domains for local R&R. Is it still good if the site has been expired for years, even without links, or should I go into freshly expired domains instead? So the problem you've got with the stuff that's been expired for years is the metrics have frittered away to nothing. People have probably jumped in and stolen all the content from expired domains, and the backlinks are all dead and stuff like that. So, a lot of people in terms of link building strategies can go to an expired domain, reach out to everyone that's linking to that expired domain and say, oh, we've changed brands. Can you point your link to this instead? So link reclamation on an expired domain is a thing. Content stealing from an expired domain is a thing. So I would probably much rather sway towards a freshly expired domain because there's less opportunity for that happening, or even a kind of option domain. I think is also a better option. But for local rank and rent, um, you don't need anything that's that meaty, just something with a little bit of power and some relevance, and you're good to go for kind of local SEO. So I think, just grabbing an expired domain name or even reaching out to guys who've just got lazy or maybe went bust, but their domains are just still running. I think looking at those opportunities rather than domains that have been lying around for years is a good way to look at it. And again, you can look for these websites if you just put in, it is Google copyright 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and you see websites that have not bothered updating their copyright. These websites are probably dormant, not been updated, and maybe these guys will sell. They've maybe retired, or whatever. So hopefully that helps. Vivek, do you prefer selecting a particular niche or some of the keywords from the niche? I mean, I think, if you're picking a niche, you want to pick something that generally has room for scale. So you don't want to be too niche. You probably want to be generalized in some way. So if you're selling trainers, you probably want to sell men's trainers, women's trainers, Nike trainers, Adidas trainers, and so on, rather than just being the Adidas trainers guy, to use Sam P's example. So I would prefer something that's wider related, like trainers in general, than Adidas trainers only. Now, some people do niche down into very, very specific stuff, but if the search volume's there for it, great. But I'm always looking for room for expansion. And if you do Adidas trainers and then you want to start selling Nike, you're going to have to launch another website, which is more money, more maintenance, just a whole lot of hassle. I'd rather have one big website that ranks for everything than 10 mini websites. That's just the honest truth of that. Josh McAdams, I may have asked this before but missed the answer. If a guest post seller has a list of all the guest post sites he sells on his website behind the login, should we skip these websites because of Google? At the moment, probably not. I think they can still work, but Google potentially can see all of that shit, and are they? It's quite easy for them to exploit that. In fact, let me show you something. I'm just going to share my screen. So I came across, where the hell is it? There's a website called Guest Post Engine, and you can basically search on here for 7,139 blogs that accept guest posts. Now, someone showed me this website, and I was like, whoa, that's quite a good share, and that could be interesting. But then when I had time to sit down and think about it, I'm like, fuck me, Google can scrape that shit up and just devalue those links in an instant. So is that a good option? Absolutely not a chance. I think your way of thinking is, should we skip them because Google can probably see them? Absolutely, because I think if they don't do it just now, I think there will come a time, whether it's the next update or an update in, next year, this time next year, or whenever it may be, then you're going to be smashed for it. And why would you want to pay just now for, 3, 4, 5, 6 months worth of benefit? So that's just my opinion on that. But yeah, I think you're right with your logic thinking that, Josh. And yeah, as you say, someone can log into these sites and maybe it's the same 7,000 websites. It could be. I've absolutely no idea whose website that is. Someone showed me it, and I was just like, "Fuck me." I would never even consider logging in and looking. I would be like, "Nah, I'm not interested in that particular website." So it could very well be I'm not saying it is Dennis's, but it could very well be. OSI, only reason I look at expired domains for that is because I want to avoid the sandbox. My fresh domain is still not fully indexed, which is annoying. Over 1.5 months now with only 2 pages in the index. Send some paid traffic to it. That always kind of gets you out of the sandbox if there is one. I've always found that, sending a bit of paid traffic, Facebook posts or Reddit or whatever it might be, is a surefire way to getting yourself out of any sandbox that may or may not be there. And I'm not suggesting that it's not there. There probably is something, but I know that's a much debated myth in the industry as to whether there is actually a sandbox. On the other hand, most guest post sellers have their lists in Google Docs, so isn't that kind of same as being public? Yes, it is. OSI, it is, and can Google crawl and scrape and get all that data? Yes, smart guys wouldn't put it in Google Docs. That's all I would say. I think guest posting, if you're going to rely solely on guest posting, you're going to be in deep trouble. I think it's probably quite easy for Google to identify websites that sell guest posts without these lists anyway, just by the sheer volume of links that are coming out of these websites, because guest posts have been sold willy-nilly on every website. For example, Forbes India was a website that probably in the last year or so, somehow you were able to get, some people were able to get editorial access, and somehow people are then on people per hour selling links all over Forbes India to the point where it's just there's no value in it. So I think, just with the number of outbound links on websites, I think Google could probably, just put that filter on and identify who's up to no good with our websites and selling guest posts. Keep your questions coming, guys, because I'm not in a rush to go anywhere. If there's still questions here, I will keep going for a little bit longer. Sam P, thanks for answering all our questions. No problem at all, Sam. Always happy to jump on and help. I try and make it a semi-regular thing. It beats me just answering all sorts of inbox messages to people, which, as you can imagine, can be rather crazy. If you have enjoyed the stream, though, make sure you do give it a little like. And if you've not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe, because I'm trying to hit that 50,000 marker, which has taken me forever, but I am less than 1,000 people away from hitting that 50,000 marker. How to figure out which backlinks is relevant to different niches? I mean, you have to use a common sense approach here. One, you can look at the competition and see what they deem as relevant. Two, common sense will tell you, you wouldn't get a link from a flower shop to a butcher, or you wouldn't get a link from a car mechanic to someone who's selling guns. Relevance, it's got to have some form of relevance. So like home improvement, for example, if you've got a home improvement website, getting links from plumbers, joiners, electricians, roofers, bathroom people and stuff like that, that's relevant. But would getting a florist link on there be relevant? Absolutely not. So, but you've also got the counter argument of whether Google take the page that the link's on as the relevant factor. So guest post providers on generic websites will tell you that if you've got an SEO article on some business news website, then that relevance is enough as well, because of the title tag and the content surrounding the link is all relevant. So take from that what you will, but I always try and keep them as super relevant as I possibly can. OSI, this has probably been asked earlier, but I missed it. Any thoughts on what Google targeted with the last update? Someone did ask it, and it certainly looks like a link-related update. So people with crappy links have seen the biggest impact, and that is what the general SEO community is saying right now. Now, what I would also say is people jump to crazy conclusions when an update rolls out. Everyone sees a bit of movement. People panic. People change shit up. People start doing things differently. let it settle for a few days, and then see what the wider community is saying, and then start to take action. I think people are in too much of a rush to take action. And yes, I get it. It can be frightening when you see a little dip in your rankings or whatever. But sometimes it just evens itself back out in a few days, and in a lot of cases that is the case. So try not go crazy, with doing rash changes or anything because such and such said it was this or such and such said it was that. I think that in general, from what I've read and from people that I know in the industry, are definitely saying it's a link related update, and the crappy links have been devalued or whatever you want to call it, and that's that. Josh McAdams, what about a link from a marketing blog or design blog about any website or marketing campaign? I would see that as totally relevant, Josh. That for me is relevant enough. That marketing, design, paid, all of that kind of stuff are all interlinked under the marketing brand, if you like. So I would see that as relevant. Any tips on finding local-based blog sites? I'd rather have a small site from a certain city post to my site, which is for the same city, instead of a random high DR blog. I mean, you just do Google it, look at the competition, or sites that you may deem ones that you want to be getting links from. There's tons of localized websites that you can find. You obviously just need to do local searches to find them. But on a local level, like I can only really talk for the UK. At the local level, a lot of the local guys have no clue what SEO is and what a backlink is or anything like that. So you're going to find that job a little bit harder, and you might have to do a bit of education to these guys to kind of try and get the link or whatever. But you might be lucky enough to talk to someone who actually knows a bit about what they're doing, and if you can work out something for mutual benefit, then you're both winning. So just again, look at the competition, see what local links they're getting. If they don't have any, then just do some searches and see what websites are out there, and just do an outreach campaign to them. And you might even want to do a video tutorial, like, come on, like, here's why we're doing this and whatever. Just do a bit of generic outreach and see what the uptake is like. But as I say, in my thoughts on it, reaching out to a lot of local business owners are those ones that you just never get a response from because they just don't get it, and they don't get what you're trying to achieve. So, but that could be area dependent. I just know that where I'm from, that's the kind of way people think. When's Kyle Roof back in the podcast? I will potentially reach out to him. I think I had Kyle on at the start of COVID, but he's a great guy and great information, so it would make sense to potentially get him back on. So I'm going to be working more on my podcast and trying to get more people on. So I will certainly give Kyle a shout out if people are wanting to see him back, and we can grill him on something slightly different this time. Then we can do that because, as you all know, he's a super smart guy and someone that we need to be picking the brains of as a community. So I will try my best. And as Josh says, to OSI, use search operators like InURL, citations finders like Nap Hunter. Look at the competitor's backlink profile. Good morning, other Craig. Good to see you. Josh has some videos he can email you, OSI, or he can send you on Facebook. So reach out to Josh McAdams. He's a nice guy and always helpful in the community. So Josh, if you've got videos in OSI, you want to see them, then connect. It's always good to connect with other people as well, and help each other out. That's what it's all about. And OSI, I've heard similar things about UK lead gen. People don't want to buy leads for some reason, just word of mouth, small ads. I've had that OSI. So being based in the UK, I used to do a lot of rank and rent stuff, with local builders, local plumbers and all that stuff. And I would have the website ranking at the top of page one. Now, these guys are paying Yellow Pages thousands of pounds and not getting any leads. And I'm going in saying, listen, man, I can, rent you this website out or whatever. And they're just like, nah, but I'll take the leads. And you're like, well, what are you going to pay for lead? And they're like, no, I'm not paying you for them, but I'll take your leads. And you're just like, are you thick? Like, this is my business model and my website, so you can pay for the leads or sell it to your competition. They're like, well, go and sell it to the competition. And certain websites with that type of industry didn't work very well for me. Certainly in the construction niche. I know people in America who get leads all day long, and Americans are more up for leads and understand the value of it. So certainly in the UK, it's probably country dependent, but doing stuff in a local level in the UK, it is like pulling teeth, let's be honest. And I think that's why, a lot of lead gen guys, even in the UK, focus on the US market because there's more money to be made. So, got to follow the money, man. Habib Islam, good to see you, man. We're all good. Just doing a question and answer session and answering any questions, but the questions are drying up. If you have any final questions, guys, do pop them in the chat. Also, please do like and subscribe to the video. As I say, trying to beat that 50,000 marker, because whoever asked the question at the start, why does Brian Dean get all the traction? Why does my videos not have the same uptake? He has 400,000 subscribers and I've got less than 50, so he is reaching a far bigger audience than me, and because of that click-through rate and engagement and likes and all that other stuff, he's going to kill me all day long, let's be honest. So but trying to play catch up, trying to offer value to the community to try and catch up, but it's a job in progress. But guys, there is no more questions coming in, so what I will do is say goodbye for today. I probably will come back with another question and answer session later in the week. I do have Cashflow Digital live tomorrow with Mike and Brad, and we have the question and answer session with Chris Palmer on Wednesday as per usual. And I will be releasing more information on the free course that I'm giving away in January, either later on today or tomorrow at the latest, where you can sign up completely for free and get access to all of that stuff. Last question. You said get some paid traffic. Never bought traffic before. Any tips on where to get traffic that isn't risky? I don't think traffic from India will be. No, definitely don't get traffic from India for local stuff. Paid traffic can be paid Reddit ads, paid Quora ads, paid Facebook ads, Google ads, whatever you want to buy. None of that's risky. None of it's illegal. None of that's going to get you penalized. You can boost a Facebook page locally to your area or whatever. So make sure that you get some traffic on that website. But there's multitudes of paid legit traffic that you can drive to your website. No fake bots, no nothing. When I've mentioned in the past about Indian traffic, what the benefit was there is I would get paid Indian traffic onto YouTube, because YouTube doesn't give a shit whether you're in India, America, or anywhere else in the world. It's all about engagement. Whereas if you're doing stuff on a more local level, you want to make sure that traffic is local, because Indians looking at your local thing, it's just probably not going to have the same impact. So that is what I meant by that. So hopefully that helps. And thank you, everyone, for all your questions. And I will see you again later on in the week, everyone. So thanks again, everyone. See you later.